back to our Wednesday edition of News Geelong. The Geelong Moving Forward project continues to gain momentum and community interest, as Ian Nichols reports.
The City of Greater Geelong has adopted the Geelong Looking Forward program, and it is looking forward because they're going to address some key issues here in the central business district of Geelong. Accommodation, of course, comes to the fore, also attracting new business and parking. And as you can see, the waterfront is developing, but we're more concerned about moving back towards the central business district. And we're talking with Councillor Barbara Abley.
We've held 3 public forums which were very well attended, and people are very energetic and very positive about the central business activities area now, Ian, and we formed an advocacy group. Basically, it will be comprising of people who are really interested, business people, strip retailers, professionals, real estate agents, lawyers, who've just put their hand up and said, we want to continue with developing the idea of Geelong moving forward. So the city has embraced that and is facilitating that.
And there are a number of themes that will be integral in this, including accommodation, and attracting new business would be certainly to the fore.
Yeah, absolutely. With regards to accommodation, if I can address that first, of course we've got Pier Point, which we might get a shot of in a moment. Pier Point is one of the new apartment buildings that has just opened. It's very flash, very well designed and very welcome. The shop-top housing is what we're interested in, and Deakin University is strongly advocating for business property owners to actually open up the upper levels of their buildings for the location of students coming down to study here at Deakin. So we're keen to promote that and to encourage the property owners to actually consider that.
Well, it's been successful in Melbourne, hasn't it? And it's certainly brought inner city Melbourne alive. There's no reason why that couldn't be replicated here.
That's exactly right. I think Hong Kong and New York are the absolute leaders in the world with regards to shop-top housing.
Looking forward with Councillor Barbara Abley. This is Ian Nichols for News Geelong.
It is mandatory for motorists to travel through school speed limit zones at 40 kilometres per hour in order to pay due diligence at the wheel. Meryl Friend reports.
Next time you're driving past a primary school, high school, a college, think twice about your driving speed. It's a topic that comes up at the start of every school year and after school holidays. And 2 mums from Geelong have been campaigning to get some flashing 40 signs around schools where there's a lot of traffic and a speed higher than 60 kilometres an hour. So think about it, and if you have any suggestions on how to help the speed limit around schools, you can go to www.safetyfirst.com.
Okay, I'm involved in a program in Melbourne, an educational place, and we all took on a community project, and I took on this particular project when my husband one day was surprised that I had the grandchildren and it was school holidays, and he really announced, you mean I don't have to drive at 40 k's through the school zones? And I realised he had no idea when a school term was, and so I took that on, that we had an issue with most motorists not actually knowing when a school term began and ended, and also the actual time of day, and I felt that was a real issue, so took it on, and from there had an article in the paper, and then met with Kylie, who had been campaigning for a number of years for the same cause, and we have had some success, and we have had traffic lights installed in Aberdeen Street at 3 schools locations, and also for Kylie's school at Lara, but it's not enough.
How did you and Julie meet up?
I contacted the gentleman that wrote the article in the Geelong Advertiser, and he put me through to Julie, gave me her number, and it's great because we had both the same cause and we could do it from one end of Geelong to the other, so that was really good.
And you have had some success, as we've said, but you seem to have come to a brick wall, as we say, so what can people do to try and help?
Obviously campaign your local member. The state government is the one that runs these areas, and they decide on who gets the lights and who don't. They have a criteria that they run by. So your local state member, and otherwise anyone else that will listen, because obviously the kids are really important, and it's not just about, you know, our area in Lara. We do have them, that was really great, but there are other schools around this region and also around Victoria that don't have the flashing 40s, and it seems that there's quite a few accidents. And as you see, the police in the last few months have caught a lot of speeders speeding in those areas, so we really need to make it more important. I mean, even before I had children, I really didn't know when the school holidays were, and when you know, the school may have a curriculum day and therefore you don't need the flashing 40s on that day because there's no children attending. So it's up to an individual school as to when their school. So driving around, you don't know whether it's a day off or school holidays. So those people that don't have school-age children that know holidays will actually be aware of the zone, and it makes it a little easier for the drivers.
And so you've also got a blog that you could tell people about?
Yep, we've got a blog which we've just put some contact details on. It's the www.geelongsafetyfirst.blogspot.com, and that just gives you some information. If you're struggling with your area at school, you can contact us, or it also gives your local members email addresses to harass them and go from there.
Meryl Friend, News Geelong.
Thank you, Meryl. The building of another new Aldi store in Geelong West has faced its problems from local residents over the heritage of an Albert Street church. Ian Nichols reports.
This is the busy Geelong West intersection of Shannon Avenue and Albert Street, soon to become the site of an Aldi supermarket, right opposite a Coles supermarket. This has been a long saga, with the council not happy, the Geelong Council not happy with the former planning minister for overruling them. Now, the situation is that there was an old church here, built in the 1960s. It's been demolished and things are starting to move quite rapidly. But you may notice a house on the corner. We call him Mr. Stay Put. He's staying right there. And that's going to be a bit of a stumbling block, I would think. It's a traffic congestion at the moment. There's a bus stop outside, and it has been a very controversial issue, particularly for Geelong councillor Barbara Abley.
It will be a reality. I mean, I don't have an issue with Aldi developing wherever it wishes, as long as the site is appropriate and as long as they follow due process and don't slink up the road to Melbourne talking to ministers for planning behind any local government areas back. So that's what really I think has annoyed me largely about this. I mean, Aldi was always going to build there. My concerns still remain the same, and that is one of safety of traffic movements. I don't believe the residents around the area, and I know there has been some statements made in print media of times it's in support of it. I don't have an issue at all with Aldi providing just some competition, because I think it's sorely needed. Everybody wants to have a choice when they go into a supermarket, so good on them for doing that. I don't have an issue with Aldi out in Surf Coast Highway or Lawn Ponds Corner. It's an appropriate site. I still don't believe where they're building on the old St John's site is appropriate, because I think it's going to impact very, very heavily on public safety and traffic movements along Albert Street and also in Shannon Avenue. I don't have any additional information with regards to when they will actually start digging holes in the ground. As you say, the buildings have been knocked over and they just disappeared basically over, just a number of days, so the site is clear. But we'll just wait and see.
At the site of a proposed new Aldi supermarket in Geelong West, this is Ian Nichols for News Geelong.
Thank you, Ian. This is News Geelong, program number 150, as we go to a break and return with sport and weather after this.